This the Carousel, the host Al Flemings. Came to lock the game like my name Val Demings. Fantasy and flavors, new edition. The intro to the show is brought by True Ambition. Round and round we go, shouts out to Eric Wilson. Knowledge for your wins, all you gotta do is listen. Hungry for info, food for thought, got all your fixing. You know, F-O-O, value facts over opinion. 4-3-3-4, my defense beats our system. Injury report, winning while I'm grinning. Dominate the point of attack from the line of scrimmage. For long as you can't beat my squad, go gather all your minions. Carousel, carousel, carousel. This the carousel. On or you're off. Either you're on or you're off. Either you're on or you're off. What? Knock 'em out.
How we doing, ladies and gentlemen? It is week 2 of the NFL season, and sometimes it just helps if you know what's up on the injury report. You know, this injury report is something that you need because you want to be accurate. You want to give bad information. What I have that other shows don't is an injury report from an actual doctor. No skepticism, no prognosticating, no guessing, an actual certified doctor. So while others whoop-de-woo with the mouth, I'm going to let Dr. Chona let you know what's up for the Week 1 injury report.
Welcome to your Week 1 NFL injury report. I'm Dr. Deepak Chona with SportsMed Analytics. Let's dive in. Michael Thomas sustained a high ankle sprain at the end of the Tampa Bay game. Bad news because NFL data shows that these affect players for about 3 weeks on average. We're not expecting to see him before week 4 or 5 at the earliest, and we'd be downgrading our expectations until about week 6 or 7. Do expect a full recovery within the year, though. George Kittle, one of our favorite players, sprained his knee when he was tackled, and it got forced into hyperextension. He returned to the field, but wasn't even targeted after the injury. Still, we're optimistic about it. They probably wouldn't have let him come back if anything major like the PCL was structurally damaged, so expect him to rest through some practice time, but suit up at nearly full strength for next week. Our overall concern level will decrease pretty significantly over the course of the next few games, so we definitely target him in trades if his owners are worried. There were a slew of hamstring injuries, possibly made worse by the abbreviated training camp situation. Le'Veon Bell and Devontae Parker were 2 big names to get hurt and not return in week 1. Bell is now officially out 3 weeks, but can be reasonably expected to return to form by about week 6. Parker has not been ruled out for week 2, but we're definitely downgrading his expectations. If he doesn't have to miss any time, expect a solid return to his baseline by about week 4. Miles Sanders, Kenny Golladay, Mike Evans, and Golden Tate were also dealing with hamstring injuries going into week 1. NFL data tells us that these vary in severity, but the pooled average is about 10 days missed with a 20% chance of re-injury during the season. That's definitely fairly significant, but there may still be some value here. Evans played, though he didn't produce more than 1 reception for 2 yards and a touchdown in his first game with Tom Brady. Still, it's a good sign for his outlook going into next week. The most likely outcome for him is continued improvement and probably return to full form by about week 3. He does have that increased short-term re-injury risk, but he's one of our top trade targets for the week given the massive ceiling potential he could be achieving very soon. Miles Sanders missed his chance to start as the Eagles' top running back, but reports are that he's going to be advancing activity in practice this week. Same is reportedly true of Giants wide receiver Golden Tate. Both situations need to be monitored this week for progress in practice, but we're expecting them to be able to play in week 2. Most likely, they'll be producing at their normal levels by week 3 or 4. We're less optimistic, unfortunately, on Kenny Golladay. Sounds like the Lions started planning to play without him very shortly after he strained his hamstring in the middle of last week. That suggests to us that he's going to be questionable for week 2 as well, and we'll have to play it by ear to see what happens from here. Cowboys Nation was hit really hard with injury this week as well. Star linebacker Leighton Vander Esch broke his clavicle. NFL studies report an average of about 8 weeks to return, but he'll likely be eligible for clearance after about 6. Blake Jarwin was poised for a big season at tight end, but his ACL tear is going to have to put that on hold until next year. As many of you know, the injuries did not stop on Sunday. On Monday night, Broncos running back Phillip Lindsay left the game with a turf toe injury. It's reportedly mild, but even if he comes back, this is an injury with potential to linger. We're not going to be counting on him as a reliable player for at least the next month. James Conner, on the other hand, gives us a more optimistic outlook. He did sprain his ankle, but ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reports that it was not of the high ankle sprain variety. Therefore, we expect him to try to play in week 2 and likely return to full strength by week 3 or 4. Maybe a good trade target for some opportunistic owners. And that's all we've got for today. If you enjoy what you see, please like, share, and subscribe. If you need to know about another player, comment below and we'll add him to our next edition. Until then, go dominate your leagues.
Imagine that. So you can't get that at other places. That felt good. With that being said, let's get into some football. Now, if you remember week 1, Detroit was pummeling Chicago, and then Mitchell Trubisky saved his season and his starting career by pulling out something from his butt in the fourth quarter. So I need some answers. I do. So let's get a resident Chicago Bear fan and see what's going on. Enter in Travis Bailey.
Alex,
how you doing?
Alex, loving it. Hey, it was sort of a smoke and mirrors type victory for the Chicago Bears, but us on the South Side, we'll take that all day long. Detroit was struggling with some injuries. Obviously, Jeff Okudah was out to begin with. Galladay was out, which was big because he tears the Bears up on a regular basis. They lost 2 other cornerbacks, and then it was Mitchie Disco time, ladies and gentlemen, blowing it up in the fourth quarter. And hey, like I said, Alex, a win is a win, but they struggled, and this team is going to struggle at times. And, Mitch is going to look over his shoulder, but hey, when push came to shove, he dropped some dimes in there, especially that pass to down the sideline. It was beautiful. It was beautiful work by Trubisky, and he got the monkey off his back, so to say.
All right, Travis, be real with me and be honest. How long until Mitch loses his starting job?
Arguably, probably week 3, week 4, Alex. I mean, I'm ready for him to say bye-bye and see what Foles can do, even after that performance, 3-touchdown performance. The one thing about Mitch is he doesn't really turn the ball over all that much, but what he does do, and if you watch any of the games, and even the Pro Bowl, skills competition, that guy was overthrowing stationary targets by 10 to 15 yards over their heads, and it was absolutely ridiculous. We were there for that. We were covering that at Rocket Sports, and I watched that live and in person, and I just couldn't believe my eyes that a guy was missing, once again, stationary targets.
Now, you mentioned Rocket Sports. Travis, this is week 2, but this is your first time on the show. Let the people know who you are, what you do, and where they can find you.
I'm sports photographer, editor, writer for Rocket Sports and Entertainment. We've been doing this for 10 years in the Tampa area. We cover all professional sports. I shoot the Lightning, the Rays, USF football. I also cover all things rock and metal in the area and throughout the country. I travel all over the place to cover shows. I actually went to Soldier Field a couple years back to cover the Fighting Illini with Lovie Smith and USF, and in Soldier Field. It was pretty fantastic to be on the same field as Walter Payton and, the team that I love. So pretty fantastic. I do think we do a number on the Giants this week. Our front 7 defensively is one of the best in the league. And they also got some good guys in the secondary with Jackson. I think we're gonna do it up against the Giants this week, and once again turn Daniel Jones into Danny Fumbles.
All right. Now I agree with Daniel Jones turning into Danny Fumbles, but there's this guy in the backfield by the name of Saquon Barkley. He was held to like 26 yards against that Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm thinking he might come out pissed on Soldier Field. What do the Bears need to do to slow him down?
Just get in that backfield, just like the Steelers do. And I'm not comparing the Bears D with the Steelers D, but it's not that far away, Alex. Not that far away at all. We slow him down, put the ball into Danny's hands, and just attack. We're going to get Robert Quinn back this week coming off injury. Mack is going to be feeling a little bit better. Hakeem Hicks up front, and then that leads to Roquan Smith and Danny Trevathan going after not only Daniel Jones, but attacking Saquon Barkley. And if we can slow down Saquon, we can have a big game against him and then get a victory. But Saquon did some damage to us a couple years back when the Giants went in there and stole the victory, and that held us back from having a bye in the first round of the playoffs. And you know what happened then? The double doink, baby.
All right, you got 20 seconds. Say your goodbyes. I thank you, Travis.
Hey, once again, thank you for having me, Alex. I'm at Rocket Sports at, Travis Faley at rocketsports-ent.com for all your local Tampa stuff, all your rock and roll, all your metal, and obviously Chicago Bears stuff and Tampa Bay Lightning. Go Lightning tonight. Game 6. Got to take it home, Alex. I know it's at the football show. Got to take it home. And you will see me every once in a while out in the field, all geared up, baby. Get them, Bears.
Amen. One love, Travis.
Take care, guys.
Man, he living in Tampa, putting in work. Since we talked about Chicago, I feel the need to talk about the reminiscence of the New England Patriots. Just when I thought they were dead, here they come with Cam Newton, and they look good. Now, be it was against the Miami Dolphins, but they look good. So how about we take an audible and bring in someone who knows a little bit about fantasy and a lot about New England. Entering Bucks Report's own Joshua Cole Allen. Welcome to the show, sir.
What's going on, Alex? Thanks for having me on, man.
Man, I needed some heat and I needed some information. Now, you write for the Bucks Report.
Correct.
But last time I checked, you were from Boston, right?
Correct. I lived there for 32 years of my life. I moved down to Tampa about a year and a half ago now. And I got the opportunity to cover sports for the Buccaneers. And just so happens, my boys came down and followed me with me. So kind of worked out. It gave me an inside edge because I know a lot about Tom and Gronk, obviously. I've just been working hard and trying to bring the content and the knowledge that I have from watching them in New England for 20 years and 10 years to the Buccaneers.
Excellent. Now let's talk about New England. Cam Newton, bro, Cam. How did they look week 1?
There's definitely some things that needs to work on. Obviously, passing is one of them. But we're living in a COVID world with no preseason, no intra-squad scrimmages. You knew there would be some adjustments. So Cam did what he did best, and he used his legs. And it happened, to pull it out for a win along with that defense, which I'll get into in a little bit here. You combine the two of those and the experience that they have, and it led to a win.
I have bad news for you, sir, because, you guys are facing Seattle this Sunday, and that's a dangerous proposition. And I have a representative who wants to let you know how she really feels about the situation. Enter in our Turf Media's own editor-in-chief, Dana O'Gorman. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you, Ms. Gorman. Ms. Gorman, this is your first appearance on the show, and people need to know what work you do. So please, the floor is yours for a minute or two.
Thanks. So Our Turf Football is a website that covers all 32 NFL teams by women. All of our reporters are female reporters. I am a senior NFL reporter. I cover the AFC West and the NFC West, but my heart and soul is blue and green. I've been a Seahawks fan my whole entire life, and so I'm really lucky that I get to cover them. And I get to debate about them today.
She says she wants smoke.
Oh.
All right. So for those who don't know, this is how the debate is going to go. Josh, you're the visiting team, so you're going to go first. You're going to have 2 minutes. Try to present your position. Respect is utmost because an editor-in-chief, her time is precious. After your 2 minutes, we'll have a little breather, and then Mr. O'Gorman will have 2 minutes on how the Seahawks are going to dismantle the New England Patriots. After that, you'll each have 45 seconds. I'm going to bump out so you two can handle business. Josh, you go first because you're the visiting team. Are you ready, sir?
I am. Well, first of all, speaking of smoke, I just want to say, my thoughts go out to everyone in the Seattle and Washington area and all up and down the West Coast with those forest fires. Serious situation. But it looks like the game was in question because of the air quality. It looks like it's good to go, which is good news for this team because even if you guys are playing at home, there's no fans in the stands. So you automatically lose that 12th man right there. It's a huge edge. And, dangerous, he had a good game last week. I'm not going to lie. 4 touchdowns, over 300 yards passing, but he was going up against a suspect Cleveland Browns defense and secondary. He's going against, the best defense in the NFL from last year. It's going to be hard for DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett to get open against the reigning defensive player of the year and Stephon Gilmore and up-and-coming studs, game-sealing interception, J.C. Jackson, John Jones back there. You got the McCourty twins back there doing their thing. Adrian Phillips coming out of nowhere. Young stud Kyle Duggar in the second round. Yes, the Patriots did lose almost their entire linebacking core. They have, good players there, Chase Winovich, Josh Uche, who can still get after the quarterback. And that's one thing you guys are dealing with some injuries and some veteran days on the offensive line. That's where they can really kind of attack you. And as for their passing defense, they let up 182 yards. So I don't see the 300-something yards that Dangerous had last year, Russell Wilson, last game. And as for rushing, you guys had a very weak rushing attack last week. Carson did get in the end zone twice, but those are on receptions. And the Patriots held the Miami Dolphins. Now, I know they don't have an amazing running game, the Dolphins, but they held them to 87 yards on the ground. So that's something that this defense can really go up against and really handle. And that's not even getting into the offense. Cam Newton, in this pandemic, he showed everybody that his legs are still there. And as the passing game is evolving, he'll get the players more involved. N'Keal Harry looked pretty good besides that fumble. Julian Edelman is going to do what Jules does and get open. It's going to be a very exciting game, and I'll leave the rest that I have to say for the rebuttal.
Awesome. Well, you know what? I'm not going to disagree with you on some things there. Oh, Alex, can I go ahead and go?
Go for it.
Sorry. Moment. No, I can't disagree with you. The secondary in New England is fantastic, and I am a big, huge defense fan, so I love that. I love it when the defense is the star of the show. But I was actually really thrilled about Cam Newton coming in. I wanted to see that Bill Belichick Cam Newton thing going. I want to see what happened. But let me just tell you this. I have one stat for you. One stat alone, 14-2. And that is Russell Wilson's primetime record. Russell Wilson does not get beaten often when the lights are bright and you're on national television. Here's the thing. There's been a change in philosophy this year in Seattle. We truly believe it. And yes, that Seattle has been a running team forever, for a clear back Marshawn Lynch's first season there, right? But now the term "let Russ cook" is showing up, and now they're letting him play to his strengths. And he had a fantastic game. Now, you are not wrong when it comes to the Atlanta secondary. That was definitely a very big question mark. But I think we're just beginning to see what can happen when you let Russell Wilson take over. I think Chris Carson as a receiving running back was beautiful. We hadn't seen that before, and it opens up a ton more options. But I think that Seattle has the edge is the fact that this now fantastic secondary, with the addition of Jamal Adams and the addition of Quandre Diggs and the addition of Quentin Dunbar, is now going to be one of the strongest secondaries and be right up there with the New England Patriots. And they play against a running mobile quarterback every day in practice, probably the best mobile quarterback in the NFL right now. So they are going to be primed and ready. I do think we'll see a little bit more of the run game this time. We'll have to see how that goes. But I think that there is going to be a sharp difference between playing the Miami Dolphins and playing the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle on prime time for the Patriots.
Yikes. She was smooth with that. All right, so she jumped right in. She has no fear. She is an editor of Art Turf Media, and she covers the NFL. So, Josh, you got 45 more seconds. Hey, step your game up. You up.
I completely agree. It's a big challenge, but I think the Patriots and Bill Belichick, this team is up for it. Going back to 2008, the last 4 games played between New England and Seattle have all been decided by touchdown or less. I think that Cam will put on a Superman cape. He'll go out there. He showed what he can do with his legs. After another live competition, we'll see more of that arm strength. Julian Edelman out there, N'Keal Harry, some of these tight ends will get more involved. The passing backs will get more involved. I really think it's going to come down to a battle of 2 great coaches, Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick. And at the end, I always, Bill Belichick is the greatest coach of all time. And I trust that he will run it at the goal line and not pass it.
Ow.
Had to save that in my back pocket.
It's fair. I would have done the same thing to you. I'm not going to lie.
You saw how he did that. You saw what he did there. Dana.
I knew
Go
it. I
for
knew
it.
it was coming, right? If you're
You
Seahawks
had
fan, you
to.
know that's coming every time. You got to do it. Here's the thing. I completely 100% agree with you. This is going to come down to coaching. And these are two of the best coaches in the NFL who have massive respect for each other. And that is wonderful and one of the great things. I think that the rivalry between the Patriots and the Seahawks will always be there because of that Super Bowl. But at the same time, a lot of those players are gone now. And these are new teams. These are young teams. They're fun teams. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch how they adjust to each other. They're not going to be able to let Russ pass as much with that good secondary, just as much as now Cam Newton has to, who does not have a great record against Seattle. I hate to bring it up. I think that he's won once, maybe twice every time he's played Seattle. But I think that they are going to have to adjust for him. Luckily, like I said before, they have that ability. So I know this is a new Patriots team. I know it's not a new coach, but I still think Seattle comes out on top.
That was excellent. Joshua Cole Allen of the Bucks Report, the Audible, and Friday Night Fantasy.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming on. Hopefully this won't be the last time because you are covering the AFC East with that Patriot logo. So I'll be seeing you back.
Absolutely. Got a couple more primetime games up on the schedule. I want to thank you, Alex. I want to thank you, Dana. That was a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a close game. I really do. I think it's another touchdown or less game, and I think the Pats can pull it out, but we'll wait till Sunday night. It should be a good matchup.
Thank you, sir. Dana O'Gorman, thank you for your time. I know your time is precious. I want to give you a minute and a half. Let the people know what you do, where you're from, why you're a Seahawks fan, and your future expectations.
Awesome. So I grew up close, not too far from Seattle, and then lived there for years. But I've been a Seahawks fan since I was 11, thanks to my grandfather. And so I've been around this team forever, and I've loved football my entire life. Worked now for Our Turf Football, and it's Our Turf FB on Twitter. And like I said, we cover all 32 teams. I'm just lucky enough to cover two of the best divisions that are out there right now with the NFC West and the AFC West. I really think that this year is going to be a special year for Seattle. I think that we are seeing a slight shift in philosophy, maybe not completely. We can't be, it's Pete Carroll. He's a little stuck in his ways, but we can hope there'll be a slight shift in philosophy. And this defense is so much better than it was last year. So I'm expecting a lot of good things for this team.
You guys going to win the division?
With the way San Francisco starting off? Yep. There's some question marks in San Francisco.
Absolutely. Dana O'Gorman, Our Turf Media, thank you for your presence. I know this won't be the last time we'll speak. Keep doing your thing.
Thank you so much for having me.
So as you can see on the carousel, it doesn't stop. We go across the country, if not the globe. Either you're on or you're off. Speaking of on or you're off, we have to talk about a team that might be off now, but there's going to be a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon in the future. And I'm talking about those Miami Dolphins. Now, the Buffalo Bills might have took care of the Miami Dolphins last week, but that doesn't mean they're anywhere close to being done. Miami is going to be quite nice in the future. You just have to prepare for it because it could be week 3, it could be week 4. But Tua Tagovailoa is not far out of realm in the future. He's going to be coming up. Now, if I only had a Miami Dolphin in the house to talk to, I'll see what I can do. You know what? If I got a Miami Dolphin, let him come into the studio right now. So that way we can talk the future of Dolphin football. All right? So, calling out Miami Dolphins. If I have a Miami Dolphin and you want to come onto the show, come on in. With that being said, I want to entertain Jerry Festola. How you doing, Jerry?
Doing all right, man. How you doing, Alex? Getting ready.
I'm good. Jerry, take a minute, explain who you are, what you do, where they can find you.
Well, I'm Jerry Vastola, born and bred in Miami and a Dolphins super fan. Devontae Parker bought and signed that for me. He's a great guy. So we're talking about what's going on this weekend and then throughout the rest of our history. You know, we're looking to bring greatness back into the city. maybe get a number 2 perfect season going soon. A little bit of help from our boy Tua, who, by the way, I've heard is the truth.
Okay, now I know Tua is the truth. You know Tua is the truth, but I'm worried about Tua's injuries. Let's be real here. I have no expectations for Miami this year. That's real. Next year, after all those draft picks, fixing the offensive line, and under the tutelage of Flores, what are real expectations for you guys in the AFC East?
After next year, by then we should be running things pretty handily, I'm hoping. Depending on how things mesh this year, as saw in the first game, our offensive line has come together a little bit better, kept Fitzpatrick upright a lot more, a lot less scrambling than I saw last season from them, so that helps out a lot. Tua's injuries are serious. I got to be honest, before the draft, I have my reservations about him. His talent obviously is unquestioned, but the fact that he has had multiple injuries through a minimum time of playing in college is something serious, especially with that last injury to his hip. Takes a long time to heal. I know through training camp there's been talks about him and he's been on the list, but he's still been full practicing, keeping things going like that. So that's a good sign. And by what I've heard, he either is off or going to be pulled off after this week of any injury restrictions at all, saying that he is 100% ready to go. Which honestly, I really like with Jacksonville coming up in week 3. You're going to be up in Jacksonville, but their defense isn't as fierce to say as, let's say, the Bills coming up this week,
Really now, really. Now, I'm going to be live on location in Jacksonville. I'm going to see what I could do about getting you versus Evan Creel on a debate. Now, let's talk about this week. Stephon Diggs, Motor Singletary, Zach Moss, Josh Allen, the quarterback. God, what are you going to do to slow down this offense that just seems to be a touchdown machine?
Man, they did some nice things last week. Josh Allen pretty much carried the load, though. Devin Singletary was held pretty well. Like I said, we got some hiccups in our first game against New England. That was kind of heartbreaking to watch, to say the least. But we're going to take that forward. It's going to be a home game, so we're going to have that with us. Miami being one of the stadiums that's allowing fans in, I, of course, will be there as a season ticket holder. So that's going to be helpful in the fact that the season ticket holders are the ones that have the tickets. So hopefully there's a lot more actual fans there. Sometimes we can get drowned out. Bills travel well. So I'm sure there'll be a few that'll get tickets in there somehow. But for the most part, it should be a loud and proud Miami fan base in the stadium, which is going to help turn the tide and keep things on our side there. With our secondary, Xavier Howard, with us getting Byron Jones and bringing him in, we've got a very strong secondary there. I think that's going to hold some of those guys out in check and keep Josh Allen down lower. And then obviously, we've got some good linebackers that we've picked up and they're moving forward. So Josh Allen was the man. That's where all the running came from. I think we're going to be able to wrap him up pretty well.
All right. Now, Jerry, you and I both know this is not the year.
Oh, no. But last year we were supposed to be 0 and pulled off, 5? This year we're expected to. I'm not looking to go 11-5, although Miami Dolphins superfan will tell you we're going 12-4, and that's just a fact. I'm thinking more somewhere around 7-9, something like that. Maybe even be able to pull off an 8-8 would be nice. Obviously, moving forward is where it's at, so I expect to see Tua later on in the season. It's hopeful to have him week 3, but at the very least, I'm looking halfway through the season. They're going to start putting him out there to see what he can do in real world situations, because the game's a lot faster than it is in college. And with Fitzpatrick's contract's up, they're not going to have him next year. So if we don't know what we have in Tua, then where are we standing? Especially with getting rid of Josh 2 or 3 weeks ago. He was the other backup we had. So it was hey.
Who you got your eye on? What fantasy player on the Miami Dolphins are you got your eye on?
Man, I obviously was loving Parker. Right now, I'm looking for Gesicki to have some good games. He's pulling his passing together. He's getting better hands, and I like the way he's got open last week. I know he dropped a couple, but we pull those in. He has a totally different game there. And it's a lot more going on. He's becoming more part of the offense. He's been on a lot more offensive snaps lately. He's been on the field a lot. So that helps out obviously in fantasy. And then of course, our running back situation right now being up in the air, Jordan Howard and Breda coming in. Those guys, I like to see Breda get a little bit more involved than he was last week. He is proficient when he's coming out of the backfield and catching the ball. So I think that if Fitzpatrick's used him more as a safety valve, he'll be a big contributor to the team.
Thank you, Jerry. Take 20 to 30 seconds, give some shout outs, and I'll see you probably next week with Jacksonville.
Sounds like a great time, man. Hey, what's your Twitch?
Misty Clips. It's MZSTYCLXPS.
All right, we're looking for Misty Clips for any gamers out there. That's for my nephew. He's real big on that stuff. So you can look him up if you can, all right? Other than that, man, it's good to see you. Hopefully we catch up.
Thank you, Jerry. This won't be the last time I see you. I'll probably see you next week in Jacksonville.
Look forward to it.
Carousel,
Yeah,
carousel,
yeah.
carousel. This the carousel. On or you off? Either you're on or you're off. Either you're on or you're off.
What?
Knock 'em out. Carousel,
Yeah,
carousel,
yeah.
carousel. This the carousel. On or you're off? Either you're on or you're off. Either you're on or you're off.
What?
Knock 'em out.
I want to say a shout out and thank you to all the people on the carousel taking this trip with me, whether you might be Brett Chauncey representing Houston and Stroh's 411 with the 32,000 fans. I just want to let you know it's a football world and we just live in it. Whether you might be Stacey A or John Turner representing the W. Congratulations on the W last week against those Philadelphia Eagles. Speaking of Philadelphia Eagles, Eric Wilson, Sarah Turner, and others, thank you for embarking on this journey. But there's also someone else I want to thank, and that's Phil Jones. Why? Because no matter whether they're homeless, no matter where they might be, whether it might be Oakland, Los Angeles, Vegas, he's a loyal Raiders fan, and that's not easy to do. Speaking of being loyal, I would love to get a Dallas Cowboy in the house because you know what? They lost against the Rams, and they got a matchup against the Atlanta Falcons this week. And I don't think they're one of those teams that can stand to go 0-2. That's not good look, especially with everything that's going down with Big D and with Dak's contract. So, with that being said, I'm inviting Dallas Cowboys. I'm inviting Atlanta Falcons. If you want some smoke and you got some time, hey, jump up on the stream. Now, with that being said, let's look at some of the matchups for week 2. San Francisco's got an easy one against the New York Jets. That's pretty much a gimme game. The Jets are without Le'Veon Bell, so it's already not looking good. Now, even though Richard Sherman is in a protocol and will not be playing, I don't believe he will be needed against the Jets. Minnesota travels to Indianapolis after they're licking their wounds from a loss from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Ironically, the only Florida team that actually has a W. Strange, right? With that being said, Tampa Bay has the Carolina Panthers. We got something in the works in the future for that. So let's not worry about that. The Carolina Panthers versus Tampa Bay in Raymond James Stadium. That's coming to you soon. Now, another matchup that we got is Denver versus Pittsburgh. The funny thing about this is that Denver lost the last second off of a field goal kicker who missed 3 kicks and 1 extra point, while Pittsburgh pretty much dominated the New York Giants. So it's a funny matchup. Last but not least, we got Monday night. We got the Las Vegas Raiders versus the New Orleans Saints. Now, unless I can get somebody up in this room, I'm just going to call it a night because, either you're on or you're off, and it seems like a lot of people are off. So, open invite. You want in? Come on in. Do we have any questions? Because if so, I'd love to answer them for the stream. Let's go to the comments. Let's see. John Mizak, rest in peace for his fantasy owners. Yeah, Dr. Chona, He came up clean when it came to those injury reports. Christopher Cole, Seattle is going to shut down Cam's running, but it's going to be a battle. I see Seattle winning this matchup. It kind of alarmed me that Cam Newton ran the football 15 times for 75 yards, and they had 225 yards of total offense on the ground. Maybe his shoulder is good, maybe it's not, but that kind of worries me. Including the Super Bowl, John Shear, thank you for mentioning in. Christopher Cole, how do you feel about the Bucs fantasy players? I feel that it's too many mouths to feed. Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, LaShawn McCoy, Keyshawn Vaughn when he comes back, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, who's in concussion protocol. Guys, there's a lot of people on this roster, not even mentioning Cameron Brate, OJ Howard, and Rob Gronkowski. There's too many mouths to feed. Plus, there's no synchronicity. There wasn't any preseason games. There was barely any OTAs. There was only planned practices. Once this team gets to know each other and gets the feel for each other, I think they're going to be a lot better. But as of right now, I think they can struggle early. Now, last but not least, I want to talk about a division that nobody seems to want to talk about. The AFC and the NFC West. Guys, do we realize that the AFC and NFC West is 3-1? Denver taking the L and San Francisco, of all people, taking the L? Yeah, something to think about. Now, speaking of the AFC West, I want to thank my man, Phil Jones, for jumping in. How you doing, sir?
Oh, man, I'm doing wonderful.
All right. Let's talk before we get to the smoke. Your Raiders looked good. They looked good. Talk to me. Let the people know where they can find you, what you do, and talk to me about those Raiders.
Well, right now, because of COVID-19, I'm not reporting, but I am a reporter for SportsMap Radio. Now, when college football for the Big Ten will get started and Maryland gets back rolling, I will be there reporting and updating you guys on anything in the Big Ten. And I will update you guys on anything Raiders because I will, I do cover them. And I also do cover the Washington football team. So any updates, injuries, trades, you can hear from me. You guys can find me on Twitter at Phil Jones NFL. And you also can catch me Monday and for my little game day show, The Unfiltered Truth, on Facebook, Twitter, and Periscope. I'm everywhere. I'm even on YouTube now. I'm on television now.
Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope like
and
that?
Telemundo.
Okay. You and I have some business to attend to, so I want you to stay in the room. I don't want to keep the lady waiting. I'm going to bring in the sultry and seductive Stacey A, but I want you to prepare yourself because you and I are going to have a talk in a couple minutes. Real talk, okay?
All right now.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you the person why it's a football world and we just live in it. She's a Dallas Cowboy fan through and through, and she don't give two damns if you like it or not. Plus, she sticks by her team and by her man. But that's a different story. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome a football world's own Stacey A.
Good evening, Alex. How you doing tonight?
You hear that voice, and that's all natural. That's just not fair. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you. It just the voice just kind of comes out. It is what it is.
All natural Stacey A from a football world?
From a football world. Yeah, that's what I
Talk.
do. We talk all kinds of football, all the football, all day, every day.
Where can we find you?
Well, at a football world, if you go to a football world discussion group, football world, the page at footballworld.com. Yeah, I mean, too, like I said, it's all about the football world.
All right. Now, I don't want to make you mad because you sound so seductive, but someone took an L last week and it was against the Rams. Now, tell me a little bit, what happened? What happened?
Well, the same thing that always happens to the Dallas Cowboys. They think that, we're going to hit them. We're just going to push them down and we're going to come back and win in the fourth quarter. If you look at the total number of points the Cowboys have scored in the fourth quarter, they would have beaten every team they played last year. They would have been, I think it was 13-3. But what the Cowboys do is they wait until the very last minute and think that they're going to come back with this victory, which is exactly what happened. It didn't come down to that one call. They should have sealed this up in the first quarter.
That didn't look like a pass interference to me. But let's imagine that it was a pass interference. I don't think the game came down to that. Mike McCarthy, play calling. Why are you being conservative when you're past the 40-yard line? Why are you not throwing bombs? You got 3 wide receivers. What's going on?
I'm wondering if Mike McCarthy didn't walk in and pick up Jason Garrett's playbook, because this is exactly what happened last year. I really had high hopes for Mike McCarthy. I really thought that he was going to sit in his basement during his little year off and make some magic plays, make some things happen. But no, we got Kellen Moore over there calling the plays, and he's calling the same plays that have been called for the last 5 or so years. We have got a fantastic team. When you look at the talent on this team, there's no reason that we should lose one game, much less to repeat and rinse and repeat over and over.
Dr. Chona gave his week 1 injury report. Shout out to SportsMed Analytics. But he told me that you guys lost Blake Jarwin for the season.
Yes.
What can you tell me about this Schultz guy?
Well, he went to the same college that Jason Witten went to. So you maybe. Yeah, I'm so sad that we lost Jason Witten. I'm so sad that he's not there anymore. But we've got to find another tight end that's going to be able to do the stuff that he does, to just be there, to be that guy. Dak is he's not always confident throwing those long passes. He's got to have somebody run through that shovel route and just to be able to chunk it to. Right now, it looks like he's going to Zeke. And that's not going well for Zeke's running game. He's supposed to be this high-paid running back that runs, and he doesn't.
Give me some final thoughts. You got the matchup against ATL. If I could have found Freddie Brooks for you, I would have had Freddie Brooks ready for you, but apparently he's busy and he didn't want that smoke. So what are your expectations for week 2?
Well, I think the Cowboys are going to come out with the W this week. I think that there's a lot of pride on the line. There's a lot riding on the line. Now, Arizona's got some good – they've done well passing. You didn't quite pull off the win against the Seahawks last week. They're not going to win this week. I think our defense is going to show up. They're going to show out. I think Aldon Smith is going to have a record-setting game. That man is very grateful to be back in the NFL. He's very grateful for another chance, and he is going to be a beast on the field. I think that he's going to be fantastic, and I think our defense is what's going to win the game.
Right on, right on. Stacey A., go ahead and take a minute, promote yourself, let them know again where to find you, and good luck to your Cowboys next week. Well, this Sunday.
Yeah, I appreciate it. My Cowboys are going to do well all year long. If they're not, I'm still waving the Cowboys flag forever, for sure. But my name is Stacey Ashton. You can find me in a Football World discussion group on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're on all those things. Don't really do a whole lot there because limited time. But, we're here and having fun.
Thank you, Stacey A. Have a good night. Enjoy the game if you're watching tonight. Who's playing tonight? Cincinnati, Cleveland?
Cincinnati, Cleveland.
Okay.
And Cincinnati, Burrow is going to take it homo.
See you, Stacey.
Bye.
All right. So, yes, Cincinnati, Cleveland tonight. But we got some unfinished business before we close out the show. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome back Phil Jones. All right. So, for a short period of time, I've taken over as a representative for the New Orleans Saints, even though you know what I do. I'm not going to toot my own horn. Monday night matchup, Las Vegas versus New Orleans. You know the deal. You know the drill. I am not going to take it easy on you. But I am in your stadium, I believe. I believe I'm on the road. You're at home?
Yes, you come to the Death Star, sir.
Okay, all right. So I'm gonna give myself 2 minutes to tell you how I really feel about your team, and then I'm gonna shut up and let you do 2 minutes. Are you ready, sir?
Yes. Shall we dance?
Let's dance. All right, so you beat up on some kitty cats last week. Good for you. They're on the bottom of the basement of the NFC South any damn way. Brand new quarterback, wide receivers that can't get haircuts, and a white running back. Let's leave that at that. You really think that the silver and black can mess with the black and gold? You know gold's worth more in currency. And I'm glad you guys finally found a home because you guys have moved more than Bibles and hotel rooms. I mean, for real. You guys are going bankrupt due to all this COVID. You know, Macau makes more money gambling than Las Vegas does, right? Now, the only thing I will bet on is Derek Carr is probably going to cry. Your defense is going to give up big touchdowns, and you won't be able to stop the running game. Where was Max Crosby last week? Oh, yeah, that's right. He took a week off. He forgot week 1 wasn't preseason. It was real time. That's probably why Carolina was able to score 30 points. Oh, and as far as your offense is concerned, what you gonna hit me with? We got Henry Ruggs, we got Edwards, we got Waller, now that he's off the dope. We got Josh Jacobs. All those cats don't mean nothing except for Jacobs. I respect Jacobs. I like Jacobs. And that's why he's going to get punched in the mouth, because Jacobs is the only real threat on that whole dang squad. Expect your quarterback to cry again. Expect your offensive line to give up sacks. And expect Henry Ruggs to pull up with cramps because he's going to be running deep routes and there's not going to be any balls thrown to him because Derek Carr, A, doesn't have that good accuracy, B, is going to be under pressure, and C, Lattimore is going to be killing Ruggs whenever he tries to go deep. And he's going to find out the hard way, there's nobody here to catch this ball because there's no ball to catch. I feel sorry for you, Vegas Raiders.
Are you done, sir? Are you done? Okay. All right. Good. Well, first off, those New Orleans Saints, everybody talks about Alex Kamara can run and do this and that, but only 12 rushes for 16 yards? Come on. You had to rely on Latavius Murray, who runs like a tall old stick and then gets knocked on his back. First off, you went against an aging Tom Brady, and you still managed to let Tom Brady try to come back in this game. 2, the Saints' main target was Jared Cook. Jared Cook. Mr. I look like Beetlejuice. Jared Cook? Yeah. We're going to shut that down. You know, you got to look at how week 1 for everybody around the league was. Week 1 was pretty much like preseason. So everybody's going to be back in business. Defense is going to get it done. The pressure is going to come against an old, dusty Drew Brees who's tone deaf. So I don't see him really doing anything. What was that, 19 or 31 for 2 touchdowns and only 168 yards? That was pathetic. Pathetic. Oh, there's no Michael Thomas. Oh, my gosh. The carnage shall begin. And that Saints defense ain't doing a daggone thing. With that offensive line that we have, the massive 5, they're going to run right through them. They're going to run right through them like it's nothing. And Josh Jacobs going to run like hell, and they're going to have him about 150 yards. And don't forget about Darren Waller. Put some respect on this name next time. And also, Derek Carr going to baptize each and every one of you Saints. Who dat?
Really? You gonna hit us with that?
Mm-hmm.
Are you done, sir? You good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm gonna start calling you the UNVR because you know a home is a terrible thing to waste. I'll let you think about that. Secondly, we're not worried about Derek Carr after we just got done with Tom Brady. I mean, for real? For real? When was the last time Derek Carr even made the playoffs, let alone went to a Super Bowl? Derek Carr can't spell Super Bowl. And that's if he had his brother's arm and stats. He probably could use that in the NFL Network as well. Darren Waller, Jared Cook. I'm going to go with the guy who's had longevity in the league and the guy with the better quarterback. Can't guard Mike isn't playing, and that's probably the only reason why you have a snowball's chance in hell in winning. But we picked up some guy named Emmanuel Sanders. I think you know him. Last year, he cooked you guys before he went to San Francisco on a long touchdown route because none of your secondary can cover him either. I'm glad you mentioned Alvin Kamara because Alvin Kamara scored a touchdown rushing and receiving against that Tampa Bay Bucks, who was number one against the rush last year. So that little 16 yards you're talking about, yeah, you could save that smoke. That doesn't mean much of anything. Can your UNV Vegas beat that or stop that? Because last time I checked, I think CMC ran all over you for 96 yards. Who that?
First off, held him to 96 yards, okay? All right. Second, wow. You know what? Y'all going to learn to respect these Raiders. You know, yeah, everybody's had a little say on with Derek Carr and whatnot, but Derek Carr is going lights off, lights out, whatever it takes. He's going to get the job done. I'm in his corner this year. And I'm going to say this. He will light up that pathetic secondary against his old head coach, Dennis Allen, who got fired in London and couldn't make the trip home. So I'm going to tell you this. His defense is not all that. So remember that. Remember this Raiders team because you're going to have that Raider emblem imprinted on your forehead when we blow them out 35-28. Psych.
How's that a blowout, bro?
Hey, that's a blowout for a face team.
You silly. All right. Phil Jones at NFL. I hope you get to cover the Big Ten. I heard they're coming back October 23rd, October 24th.
Yeah.
You got a Twitter, right?
Yeah, Phil Jones, NFL. You guys can find me. Give me a follow. Any updates you guys need, I will keep you posted. Now, they were saying one thing. I don't know. They were saying something about rumor was Thanksgiving weekend now. So, I mean, we'll see. It's one thing to another, but I'm about to get ready for these testing. Have the nasal swab going far up my nose, Morty.
Been there, done that.
But yeah, you guys can catch me on Twitter, Phil Jones NFL. I have the Unfiltered Truth Show. If you want to hear the real truth and nothing but the truth about the Las Vegas Raiders, tune into my show on Monday nights at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific time. You also can catch me on the network of IE Sports Radio. So if you want that Raider news, you want that Raider talk, you want that good stuff, come check me out and check my co-host out, Phil Robinson III. So,
all right. Thank you, Phil.
All right, take care.
Shout out to SportsMed Analytics. Shout out to Phil Jones. Travis Faley doing his thing down there in Tampa. The Audible, Friday Night Fantasy, and Bucks Report contributor, Joshua Cole Allen. Art Turf Media, Editor-in-Chief, Dana O'Gorman, all-female representative reporting group covering the NFL. That's real talk. That's something no one can hate on. Stacey A. of A Football World, and the many, many people that make this possible. There are going to be many more debates being released in the future. I just want to say, hey, it's a football world. We just live in it, and either you're on or you're off the carousel. Think you can handle the smoke? Are you knowledgeable? Can you say something coherently without cussing? Hit up the Carousel NFL on Twitter. Leave a note. Might just hit you up. Other than that, it's the Carousel. Enjoy week 2 with the Battle of Ohio.
Carousel.
Yeah.
Carousel.
Yeah.
Carousel. This the carousel. On or you're off. Either you're on or you're off. Either you're on or you're off.
What?
Knock 'em out. Carousel.
Yeah.
Carousel.
Yeah.
Carousel, this the carousel. On or you're off, either you're on or you're off, either you're on or you're off.